Amma Asante, so wonderful to have you here.
Thank you.
So I saw a United Kingdom this morning, so I'm fresh
You are
in the
so fresh.
emotion of it, and it was such a compelling and moving story.
I'm so glad you got to see it. Thank you.
Yeah. And third film in, I've been following you for a while.
Yes.
Opening the 60th London Film Festival, how does it feel?
Quite incredible in many ways. It's daunting to a certain extent because, you know, it's a big platform to have our European premiere, but it also feels like a great pleasure and a great privilege. And sort of rounding off of a full circle period of my life, really. My first film, A Way of Life, screened there 12 years ago. I received my very first award ever at the London Film Festival. It was the New Talent Award, the award that, you know, predicted you as a future industry player. And I felt a lot of pressure with that. So it's really great to be able to come back now and be the headlining film of the festival.
Tell me about a United Kingdom. Tell me about how you found this magical story.
Yeah, well, I go back a very long way with David Oyelowo, who plays Seretse Khama, co-lead in the film. Best part of 2 decades. And I'd cast David in a TV series, my first, that I had written and was producing for the BBC. And it was, I believe it was his first TV job out of drama school. So cut to 18 years later, and I'm at home getting ready to move, and he calls me and says, look, Amma, I've got this project. It's a real passion project. I've had it for a while, but I think now is the time to make it. And I think you're the right director for it. Can I send you some material? So he went on to send me a photo essay of the couple. So it's photos of the couple from about 1947 onwards into the 50s. I didn't know about them. I had never heard of them. I hadn't heard of Seretse Khama, to my shame. And I was, of course, intrigued in the same way as, you know, when I first saw that painting of Belle, I was completely intrigued. Here I was again, intrigued again. Seeing the couple's style, seeing that that Seretse was as a privileged African man was walking around the London streets in 1947, a vision that we rarely get to see up on screen. And I wanted to know more. And of course, once you start to dig, and David had given me a synopsis of the story, you start to understand the political backdrop that this relationship played out against, and that was fascinating. So from there I read the script, Guy Hibbert's script, and then from there read Susan Williams' book Colour Bar, which the film is based on, and that book is incredible in terms of how it weaves the political story alongside the love story.
He was my grandfather, a king. I am his heir.
Oh, I see. Thank you. Thank you for explaining. Not simply disappearing. I quite understand. I have had a wonderful evening.
Ruth! No, I don't think you do understand. I don't know what happened tonight, but I do know that I would hate to walk away from you here in this moment, knowing that I wouldn't see you again.
Well, then you must. I mean, see me again, I mean.
And in terms of the beauty of the film, the cinematographer is wonderful. But I also wanted to ask about location and where you shot and all of those types of things and how you navigated that as a director.
Yeah. Well, Sam McCurdy was my cinematographer on the film, and I remember the first time we met telling him that I was looking for a cinematographer who would love Africa the way that I do and would be able to present my Africa, my vision of Africa to an audience. Because sometimes I see films and you kind of think, I wonder if that cinematographer loved Africa. And so that was the first point of call, if you like, is it had to be somebody who enjoyed not just the landscape of the land, but the landscape of the African face, I think, in many ways. And then for me, it was important that we shot in Botswana, the country where these events actually took place and unfolded. And for my producer, Rick McCullum, myself, David, that we could actually go to as many real locations and shoot in as many real locations as possible, so that, you know, the DNA, the fabric of the world that this story is set within is entwined with our film in many ways. That was key.
Father will hate him on sight. He's cleverer than him, and he's black. She might change her mind.
I've met the man I want to spend my life with.
Are you insane? White, British, and she's a salesman's daughter.
My grandfather was a king. I am his heir. I have a responsibility to return home to my people. I will never achieve anything worthwhile if I leave my heart here.
What is next for you? What is next on the cards?
Well, I am in prep at the moment for a film called Where Hands Touch, which is a film that's been in the making for a long time in many ways. It's my labour of love. It stars Amanda Stenberg and George Mackay. And is about a young biracial girl growing up in Berlin in 1944 under the Third Reich. So it's another complex story, simple on the surface, but with very many complex undertones and under themes to deal with.
Because you mentioned that it's about a biracial girl. Obviously, Belle was, and then United Kingdom, we have a mixed relationship. I'm interested, you know, I guess in the body that I am in as a dark-skinned woman.
Yes.
Have you thought about casting a lead that looks like me?
In many ways, yes, absolutely. The interesting thing about the Rhineland children, which is who my protagonist in my story is about in Where Hands Touch, is that they were born of French African soldiers and white women, and that's the key to the story here. When I'm telling these stories of history, quite often they do involve biracial women, but of course there are the stories of the black women as well. I would love to have been able to tell the story of Belle's mother. I would have loved to have known more information. But you know, the interesting thing about history is that it will document the stories of men, it will document the stories of white men, and at times it will even just about document the stories of biracial women. It's about us mining and finding those stories that are about black women that look like me and you, not just you in many ways. And that's what I hope to go on and continue to do. But as we tell these historical stories, I tell them as I find them in some ways, but also, as I say, it's been a 12-year labour of love that would have been my second film if I'd had the opportunity and didn't. But I think representation of all women of colour is very important on screen and something that's very close to my heart.
Oh, that's wonderful. And thank you for bringing so much diversity onto our screens.
Thank you.